A young woman who was barren for over 7 years finally gave birth to a daughter who turned out to be very strange and mysterious. Even as a baby, Amaka noticed that her daughter Juliet was developing muscles abnormally than a baby should. She looked very strong and became heavier that Amaka found it very difficult in carrying her. This made her fellow village women mock her. They began to tell her that she finally gave birth to an old man in a female form. They always told her that she was not qualified to be called a mother, and they never invited her to their meetings. Even as Juliet grew up, a lot of her fellow village children avoided her. They always mocked her, calling her a monster in a human body, saying that they didn't want her to hurt them. They never invited Juliet in any of their play, leaving Juliet all to herself. This always made Juliet sad as she kept on blaming nature for making her look like that. She still couldn't understand why everyone treated her like an outcast. Even at school, the biology teacher usually used her as an example of a man's body structure whenever he was teaching. This usually made her classmates roar into laughter as they saw her as a perfect example. No girl in the school ever wanted her to join their group. They would always laugh at her, telling her to go and mingle herself with her fellow boys. This would always make Juliet sit at a corner all to herself. She kept on wondering why she looked like that, even though she never partaked in any exercise. Even her siblings became ashamed of her. They became ashamed to tell people that she was their sister. They usually never allowed her to follow them to any of their outings. As time passed, a lot of Juliet's mates began to get married, including her younger sister. They would always laugh and mock her, asking her when she was getting married. Some of them even told her to stop wasting her time looking for a husband and that she should join the WWE wrestling, telling her that no healthy man could ever fall in love with her. All the men in the community rejected her, saying that marrying her was marrying another man into the house. Juliet usually felt intimidated whenever her fellow ladies were displaying what their husbands or boyfriend bought for them. She always felt sad whenever they asked her whether she had anything to display. She couldn't even remember the last time any man walked close to her, talk more of buying something for her. She would just sit at a corner and watch her fellow ladies rejoice in joy, and tears usually rolled down from her cheeks. But her mother kept on encouraging her, telling her that she was the most beautiful woman that she had ever seen, and that she shouldn't allow anything or what anybody says to reduce her confidence in herself, saying that she was too beautiful and too good to be compared with. One day, while Juliet was going to the market, a Chinese man called Jack stopped her and asked her for direction to the king's palace. She couldn't believe that the Chinese man referred to her as a beautiful lady while trying to call her attention. She just smiled and quietly left after directing him on the road to the king's palace, and Jack couldn't stop staring at her. He was amused at first at seeing a woman so muscular like that, and told himself that he needed to know more about her. Juliet was surprised one day when Jack stopped her on her way to the stream and decided to follow her there. Juliet still couldn't understand what was happening. This was actually the first time any man had ever offered to carry her calabash for her down the stream. Juliet began to hang out with Jack and spend time with him, and soon they fell in love. A lot of ladies in the community, including the princess of the land and her own younger sisters, couldn't believe that out of all the ladies in the community, the rich Chinese man fell in love with a very muscular lady like Juliet. They couldn't believe their eyes and their ears, and they tried all their possible best to snatch the Chinese man away from Juliet, all to no avail. Even the men of the community were shocked. They couldn't understand how the muscular lady that they all rejected finally ended up with a rich Chinese man like Jack. And they became more confused when the wedding cards and flyers were now all over the town, inviting people for their wedding. And both all those that mocked her and those that loved her were now all planning to attend the wedding. And when the men of the community asked Jack what he saw in Juliet that he couldn't find in any of the beautiful ladies of the community, and Jack just looked at them and laughed and then said, "In life, don't allow what people say or how they see you to make you lose confidence in yourself, because there's actually somebody out there that love and admire that odd thing about you. And when grace locates a man, both those that mocked and rejected you and thought that nothing good could ever come out of your life shall all be there in your celebration party."